Welcome to Bastard Quest. I'm the Game Bastard Kyle.
I am Todd.
Corey.
I'm Austin.
Today we are playing Eat the Reich. We've been playing it for a couple sessions. If you're just joining Bastard Quest, go back a few. It'll be the ones that say Eat the Reich. Eat the Reich is a game about vampire commandos in World War II trying to drink all of Hitler's blood, and this is the episode where you guys will drink all of Hitler's blood or you'll all die.
Okay.
And we are thirsty.
Yeah, your characters have fought their way through Paris, and now
We have gorillas.
your characters are on the rooftop of a burned out building. Snow is falling all around you. Christmas music is playing in the streets, and before you is the Eiffel Tower on the other side of the Seine. At the top is Hitler's Zeppelin. There's searchlights passing across it. Feel the cold winter air on your vampire teeth.
That was actually what Jimmy Page was going to call Led Zeppelin, but he was like, I don't know. Maybe we should just go with lead instead of Hitler.
Yeah,
It's
good call.
wise. Well, they also flirted with the idea of calling it Mussolini Jalopy.
Sure, which was already taken, of course.
Right.
It's a ska band from Sacramento.
Right.
Root him out.
No, you're thinking of Trump Truck.
Was it?
Don't even fucking joke about that. There's absolutely a band in Atlanta somewhere.
Tojo's Train? No?
I'm a big fan of Pol Pot's bus, personally.
Pol Pot's bus. It's a double-decker.
Right.
So, Todd, who are you playing this week?
I am Chuck. He's an American. He's a cowboy, and he's a vampire.
Sure.
He's got guns. They're named Betsy and Maria. He hasn't used them a whole lot because he's been, saving them up for Mr. Adolf.
Corey, who are you playing?
Cosgrave. He's a vampire.
He's English,
Correct.
and that's all we need.
And speaks thusly. He speaks that language.
Austin, who are you playing today?
I'm playing a Swiss ambassador named Reginald Poofbottom.
I don't like that.
All right, well, I guess I'll play Flint, the fucking half-bat monster.
3/4 bat.
Yeah.
1/4 human.
Like mostly.
Mostly bat.
He likes a screeching.
Yeah, Flint's great. Flint's one of my favorite Austin characters now.
Thanks. I'll create more characters where I say less.
So, your objective for this scenario, there's two actually. Ascend the Eiffel Tower, and then reach Hitler's broadcast suite. Of course, obviously, ascend the Eiffel Tower has to be met first. And then there may be additional objectives introduced as we play. So, your characters are definitely not invulnerable. There's some very difficult opponents, and death is on the table.
Well, we should say we're not alone because we do have a squad of guerrilla troopers.
You do have some...
I do, in reserve.
Yes.
guerrillas from the French Resistance, and people listening might think I mean guerrillas as in Guerilla. I do not.
No.
I mean as in the primate guerrillas.
Yes.
As in the ape.
Genetically engineered Soviet guerrillas
Oh, wow.
trained for violence.
That's a band name.
You know what gorillas are good at? Climbing.
It's true.
I say we each ride on the back of a gorilla and have them climb to the top of the
Go
Eiffel Tower.
outside.
Yeah.
It stands to reason most of the troops will be inside the Eiffel Tower.
Sure.
Of course, it is a clear-ish structure.
That's true.
I don't know if there's an actual inside and outside
Right.
for much of it, but
Right.
There's an elevator.
Right.
There's an elevator that
I
would
would
be
assume.
the inside. So you guys are on a building on the other side of the river. There's holiday revelers in between you and the Eiffel Tower. The Zeppelin searchlights painting the sky for Allied bombers. You can hear Christmas music playing. And at the base of the Eiffel Tower, you can definitely make out an entrenched German armored infantry squad with machine guns
Yeah.
and pillboxes.
and him in a broadcast station, is that what you said?
Yeah, well, the Eiffel Tower actually can be used as a radio tower. They used it in World War I.
I would imagine so.
To send to boost radio signals.
Just kind of fun to think about Hitler like running his radio station.
Well,
Yeah.
he's got a podcast. He talks about the MCU a lot.
Yeah,
He's not a big fan of how woke it's become.
Right.
you know that there's a broadcast suite in the Zeppelin, and that there's a big broadcast planned. Which Allied intelligence learned that the Nazis are going to be debuting their werewolf Nazi super soldier.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So
Right, just like in that Rob
that's
Zombie.
Yeah, that's
trailer,
why
yeah.
Hitler is here.
All right.
Now, next to you guys,
Debuting.
Like Hitler's giving a Steve Jobs product reveal.
It's like strobe lights start flashing on the Eiffel Tower, and you hear Hitler go, "Y'all ready for this?"
Give me a rule.
but next to you guys is Lasquatch, the gorilla leader,
Yes.
who is a gorilla in a beret.
Of course.
He's got a ripped apart Soviet military uniform on.
Yeah.
Let's go! I'm ready.
Oh, so glad he can speak.
It's so,
Of course they can talk. They can all talk.
it's so comforting to have that voice back.
He starts smoking a
Well,
cigarette.
they can't talk. They're like Coco the gorilla. They're like signing, but being that this is an audio podcast,
Turns
Kyle
out.
will be translating.
And also, Flint can't speak sign language.
And it's Soviet Sign Language. Uzbekistani, actually.
So it's very brief.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Soviets have 25 different signs for the word beat.
And vodka.
Okay, guys, what is plan? Me and the other gorillas are ready. You see a bunch of gorillas behind him checking their guns and loading grenades onto bandoliers. One of them has a chainsaw.
Oh, cool. So, Todd's idea of climbing, that's an option. Riding the gorillas. Flint can obviously fly up there,
Sure.
but he can't carry all of us.
Nope.
I mean, I could use my bottle of Ghost to pass through walls and stuff. Chuck is probably at the biggest disadvantage, maybe, I don't know, but like one he could do with his 2 6-shooters, do that Yosemite Sam thing where he shoots into the ground and he rises up.
Sure.
Son of a bitch.
Love it. Well, he also has his spider scurry.
Oh, that's true.
It's
Yeah.
spider
wow.
scurry right up the side of the Eiffel Tower. Here was my other idea. Since we have gorillas,
Yeah.
like I immediately thought about King Kong. If like a couple of the gorillas are comfortable with climbing the exterior of the Eiffel Tower, I would think like a couple of armed gorillas climbing up the Eiffel Tower would pretty much get everyone's attention.
True.
And then, the rest of us could maybe get inside and go up that way.
Right.
Creating a distraction with the gorillas
That's true. And I could-
outside.
Are you asking us Soviet gorillas to distract the enemy, throw our lives away for the greater good of the people's workers?
Yo.
Okay.
And Cosgrave could use his phantasmagoria to create an illusion that there's a white woman there that they could carry to the top. Apes love that shit.
They grab a chain and they're just.
Right.
I'm good with all these plans. I just
Yeah.
need you guys to decide on which one.
Right.
If we're planning on traveling through the inside of the tower, Flint could use the ooze form to aid his sneak ability, which is already pretty high.
Right.
And maybe try to clear a path for the rest of you.
Sure, and we don't have to all go together either. We could use our different plans, Spider
Yes.
Scurry and,
Yeah.
and what have you.
If we manage to make it inside the broadcast suite, Chuck can use his tool belt to jerry rig the radio to send out the brown note.
That's true.
If we wanted to do that, I'm just
Todd,
saying.
I have a question.
Do we want to go scorched earth right off the bat?
Well, this would be like after we've defeated Hitler.
Right,
That
right.
would be our
Okay, so we want to send the gorillas up
yes.
as a distraction, and then the rest of us use our various abilities to get up there. Is that the plan?
That's the plan.
I think so.
All right.
Maybe there should be an actual objective for the gorillas other than just distracting. Like, could they...
Well, they could kill on their way.
Yeah.
I mean, they got guns and chainsaws.
They can climb with. They can like hold on to shit with their feet and use a machine gun. They could probably shoot a machine gun with their feet. Can they do that, Kyle? Or apes?
Of course they
in
can.
your experience of
These are
knowledge of history.
these
your
are highly
experience-
trained Soviet apes.
In your experience as a primatologist,
Yeah. When Jane Goodall and I
Right.
were researching the Soviet ape phenomenon,
Right.
they can absolutely shoot guns with their feet.
yeah, not a lot of people know this, but Diane Fossey was killed by a gorilla with an Uzi.
Yeah. That's when they were training with the Sandinistas.
You can read all. You can learn all about it in a movie known as Congo.
I think you mean a documentary.
Literally haven't thought about that movie since it came out.
So we're going to say for the first objective here, first round, Corey, you're going to go first.
Okay.
Now, the gorillas are technically, for the rules, they are equipment that you guys have.
Right.
So if you are leveraging their distraction, that would essentially count as one use of them as added to whatever role you're doing.
Okay. How many uses do we have of them?
So the gorilla squad is shared equipment. There's going to be 4 boxes. And remember, the last box is always worth 2 dice, but their bonus ability is apes together strong.
Yeah.
So if you're cooperating with the gorillas in a way that makes sense, where they're all together and you guys are together, et cetera, you get an extra die.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll notate that. I'm just going to put ATS.
Corey, you're going first, and you can describe how you guys send out the gorillas to draw attention if you're going to use them on whatever you're doing.
So we tell the gorillas the plan and coordinate a signal when it's time for them to spring into action. So Cosgrave slaps Lasquatch on the rump and goes, "Oh, pibbly pucker!" And that's the code for.
Is that signal? I thought we agreed to send radio. Troy has radio.
Okay, work too. Off you go then.
So the gorillas, a dozen of them, start bounding off the roof of this building, swinging through the trees around. There's a huge commotion as they land amidst the civilians. People screaming as Soviet armored gorillas land around them or firing wildly into the air. Not because they're gorillas, but because they're trying to cause a commotion.
Sure.
These are very well trained and disciplined gorillas.
Oh, yeah.
Especially John.
John.
And they are charging across the bridge on the grounds of the Eiffel Tower, trading fire with the German infantry squad. What does Cosgrave do, Ned?
He's going to use that distraction as a means to sneak into the elevator past the German guards.
Gotcha. The German armored infantry squad at the base of the Eiffel Tower was not anticipating being attacked by armed gorillas.
It turns out. So Cosgrave's going to use a sneak, and he's going to use his last box of bottled ghosts. So the last box you get 2 die, right?
That's right.
And my bonus on that is another 2 die for pass through walls, which I'm going to do because the elevator is just 4 walls that goes up and down.
It is.
Yeah.
That was how Mr. Otis described it in his patent.
That was the first, name of elevators.
So Cosgrave,
But he didn't have a ceiling and a floor in his first design. It was just 4 walls.
It's 4 walls.
It's just some guy standing there watching.
Watching his walls rise. Going, fuck.
Where did I keep going wrong? Another 12 years of research.
the ghost leads Cosgrave through the melee around the base of the Eiffel Tower.
Hello, Gulliver.
Lots of German infantrymen. This is the remains of the reindeer squad and also the elf squad.
Oh, no.
They have fake elf ears on the outside of their helms. They're gaily decorated with gingerbread men and candy canes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love Christmas.
One of them is eviscerated by a gorilla, and blood sprays through Cosgrave's immaterial form. And now, given that the German infantrymen are distracted by the gorillas,
Yeah.
nobody is shooting at you, or you're also in ghost form, so nobody really can see you.
Okay, so there's
no threat right now.
Threats, okay. So my sneak is 3. It's my last bottle ghost, Gulliver R.I.P. And I get +2 for passing through walls. So that's a total of 7 die.
Nice.
Wow. Okay. So the objective for Ascend the Eiffel Tower is a threat 8, or it's objective 8, and it is challenge 1.
Okay. That sucks. Oh, it's 5 3s, a 6, and a 5.
So you got 3 successes.
Yes.
How you spend them?
Well, I'm doing pretty good on blood, and I have no threats against me. I'm just going to use all 3 of them to reduce the objective to 5.
Well, it's challenge 1, so that's going to go down to 6.
Okay.
And Austin, you're going to go next.
Well, for the folks of Paris, it looks like a night of the creatures because they hear this inhuman screech again, and just this.
Night of the Creatures.
As this like shadow swoops over them.
Night of the Creatures is my favorite Coleman Francis movie. Tor Johnson was just magnificent.
And John Carradine's theme song?
Yes.
So I've spent 1 blood to fly, and I'm going to accompany the gorillas climbing the outside of the Eiffel Tower and try and take out any of the threats alongside them.
And you're flying.
Yep.
Okay. So the guerrillas, if you're using the guerrillas, they're already engaged with the armored infantry squad. So make sure you mark off Corey's as
That's
well.
the second tick, yeah.
So that squad won't be opposing Flint as he flies up. He will however, be opposed by the Messerschmitt Bf 109E that is swooping in from above to target him with its twin cannons.
Okay.
Oh,
What is that, like a Cobra hang glider type thing? Or?
That is a German fighter,
Got it. Okay.
German air superiority fighter.
It's a hot air balloon.
You know those things that Cobra has.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I was hoping for, to kind of draw out some of the more substantial threats up above.
Yeah.
So all right. So I get one boost from taking advantage of the guerrillas' maneuvers.
Taking advantage of the gorillas, huh?
He and Jane Goodall.
Yeah.
I get another bonus for cooperating with them. Apes together strong, and I get 2 more bonuses for flying and aerial combat.
Cool. The Messerschmitt has an attack of 6.
Okay. Okay, so this is actually not going to be a brawl attack like it normally is for Flint. In our last adventure, Flint found himself an M3 submachine gun with a property of flanking. And so I'm going to use that equipment, and I'm definitely going to count flanking from my aerial advantage, and try to take out as many soldiers on the tower as I can while avoiding and returning fire to this plane as it swoops in to attack.
All right.
So I'm rolling a total of 7 die.
Cool. Well, I only got 1 attack.
Wow.
All right. Well, I rolled 3 6s and a 5.
Damn.
Okay, so you've got 1 attack against you. I'm assuming you're going to eat that with the 5.
Yes, I'll take that out with the 5.
And then you've got 3 6s, 3 crits, so a total of 6 total. 6
Okay.
successes total.
And where is the threat at for the armored infantry?
The armored infantry has not been touched. They're at threat 6. The overall objective is at 6.
Okay, so I'm going to use 1 6 to add 2 more blood,
Okay.
and I'm going to apply the other 4 to the objective.
So it has 3 remaining on the objective. You
Okay,
guys
cool.
have done 5 damage to it.
Cool.
All right. So kind of deftly swooping in and out of the streams of bullets coming from the plane above, Flint kind of flies up parallel to the surface of the Eiffel Tower, kind of picking off soldiers who stick their heads out of the framework and helping the guerrillas get higher and higher.
Utter chaos reigns around the Eiffel Tower. All the Christmas revelers are running and screaming. Klaxons are going off, air raid sirens. There's sporadic fire from the streets around, just trying to hit whatever's on the Eiffel Tower. The reindeer and elf squads are calling for backup. The Messerschmitt veers off, engine roaring, and the action goes to Chuck.
Chuck looks around at all this and says, "Wow, this reminds me of Dodge City." And he's going to use his spider scurry to
Okay.
begin scurrying up the inside of the tower.
As Chuck is climbing up the inside, paratroopers begin dropping from the Zeppelin and landing on the Eiffel Tower and shooting at everything, including him. You can still use the guerrillas, which I'd recommend, because if not, the armored infantrymen will shoot at you.
Well, yes,
As
I'm going.
well.
I guess I can signal the guerrillas to cover me as I continue my scurry to the top of the tower.
Of course.
That's what I'll do.
We will help, comrade!
Caw-caw. That's how you, yeah.
He gave the bird signal!
Does that count as cooperation? Altogether strong?
I don't know. So I think since Chuck is scurrying and not directly engaging the enemy forces, no, I don't think
Okay,
it
so
does.
just the 1 bonus.
Yeah, he still gets the benefit of them distracting.
Well, hey there, my furry friends. If you could do me a favor and lay down some cover fire while I continue scurrying up this tower, I'd be much obliged.
One of the gorillas, named Frazier, pulls out a big burlap sack full of Molotov cocktails
Oh, nice.
and just starts hurling them into German positions.
Well, thank you, sir. You, sir, are a daisy. Here I go.
In Mother Russia, fire burn you! Which I guess, all they have to think about it is old places. But anyway,
Well, not to disagree with you there since you've given me a hand, but pretty much fire burn you everywhere, sir. Anyway, here I go scurrying.
okay, Todd, what's your pool? I've got 3 attacks on you from the paratroopers.
Well, I have to spend a blood to scurry, so. And this is going to be a sneak, so that's a 2. And then with the help of the apes, that's 3. And then I'm going to say, like, the different levels of the tower could
Yeah.
be considered low ceilings.
Yeah, sure.
So that gives me another die. So it looks like I've got a dice pool of 4.
I rolled nothing on the attack.
Wow.
All right, well, I rolled a 5 and a 6, so that is 3 successes.
How you want to spend that money?
Well, I believe I will put them towards the objective.
Okay, so that is going to take the objective down to 1. So you have 1 point left on the objective. We're going to go ahead and go back to Chuck and have him start the round.
So I'm assuming I'm still spider scurrying.
You're spider scurrying up the inside of the Eiffel Tower. Cosgrave is on the elevator, and Flint is flying. There's a German fighter plane swarming around, guerrillas running ramshackle through the troops at the bottom of the Eiffel Tower, the dirigible floating ominously above.
Here's a question. To use my spider scurry, I have to spend a blood. Do I have to spend an additional blood now to keep doing that?
No, you're doing that in the scene.
I'm mid scurry?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, Chuck is just going to keep scurrying up there, hoping that with the help of the guerrillas and just the general chaos of the moment, Chuck continues to spider scurry up to the top, the what is it, the spire? Is that what you call the top of it?
Sure.
Of the Eiffel Tower. He is going to attempt to use his acid spit to make a hole in the Zeppelin and climb aboard.
All right.
What is the exterior of the Zeppelin made of? Not the balloon part, but the part.
Yeah, it's metal. It's aluminum.
Cool.
The passenger compartment. Yeah, I assumed you were not trying to get into where the hydrogen was.
That'd probably be a bad idea.
It would end the adventure very quickly.
Yes.
And your lives.
I think historically I've used shoot for acid spit because I'm aiming at a specific
That
thing
makes sense
and
to me.
shooting at it.
Yeah.
And I get a +2 in that ability when it's against metal.
Okay.
And I'm also still using the distraction of the guerrillas.
Sure.
So that's a dice pool of 6.
Well, if you do use the distraction of the guerrillas, that would be their last box, so they would be out.
Okay, well, I will save that then. I will put that back and use a dice pool of 5.
So there are paratroopers clambering atop the spire of the Eiffel Tower. They're shooting at you, more dropping out of the sky, and as they slowly, gently fall to earth, they're also firing at you. So the attack on you is 4.
Okay.
Are there any trouble bubbles in the area?
There are a couple.
Okay.
I got 1 hit on you.
Well, I got 2 6s and 2 5s.
Nice.
So I have 6 successes to do with what I will. With 1, I will go ahead and wash that hit on
Okay.
me. 2 of those successes on the objective to wipe it out.
Okay.
The other 3, I will take blood. 3 blood.
Cool. I think we're getting fully loaded on that.
We're juicy.
Chuck crawls out of a ventilation shaft into a lobby. There's Christmas music playing somewhere in the background. The elevator dings and Cosgrave steps out. And then
I like the dramatic ways they got up, and I'm just
the moment you
girl
step
from Ipanemo's playing softly.
Okay. So
the moment you step off the elevator, there's a shatter of glass, and Flint comes rolling through the window, being chased by gunfire from a fighter.
Hello, I just took the up box.
The immediate interior of the Zeppelin has been outfitted with marble, silk, gold, and mahogany. Grand staircases lead to mezzanine levels loaded with Hitler's own paintings, all of them crap, and treasures plundered from throughout Europe,
He was
North
the
Africa.
He was the original George W. Bush.
Beyond this grandeur, you can see metal doors that lead to the broadcast suite. But between you and them are 5 men and women dressed in black uniforms, various bits of armor, mismatched bits of equipment, carrying machine guns, sharpened stakes, firebombs, holy water sprayers. These are German elite vampire hunters, Vampirjagers.
Oh,
So the objective to get to the broadcast suite is 6, challenge 1, and of course the vampire hunters are between you and the doors.
okay.
okay, and their threat and challenge is
Threat 8, attack 6, and they are anathema. Their attacks generate 2 successes on a 6.
okay. Do they have a challenge rating?
They do not.
Oh, okay.
Because at the end of the day, they are just people.
All right. So I guess you pick who goes next, right? Chuck just went.
Chuck just went. That was the end of the last scene, the last objective. So for this one, I'm going to say that Flint can go first.
Ooh, okay. All right, we're brawling. I'm immediately going to go to improvised projectile. Flint's going to pick up some marble statue off of one of the pillars at the bottom of the staircase and hurl it at the group of vampire hunters before he flies at them with his steel gouging claws equipped and start ripping and tearing.
All right. So assemble your pool.
All right, So I'm spending 1 blood. I'm not going to say this statue is aerodynamic, so I just get 1 bonus.
Why don't you just grab a statue of a missile?
Hitler might have those.
Yeah.
Okay, so a basic brawl pool of 4. Improvised projectile gives me 1 more. And then my steel gouging claws gives me 1 more. So I'm rolling 6.
And they have 6 as well.
I rolled 2 4s and a 6.
I have 5 attacks.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I may just spend this turn fending off those attacks, or most of them anyway. 1 will still land.
Do you have any injuries right now?
I'm just spooked.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to spend all 4 of those successes. Now, that was 1 crit, so I do gain 3 blood from that. So we're going to say, yeah, I just spend those successes bouncing back and forth, kind of parrying, but they are going to land 1.
Okay, so Flint flies in, looks all dramatic, hisses, and then gets sprayed right in the face with holy water. And one of them throws a petrol bomb on his chest. He's on fire. They just start shooting him with blessed bullets. He's scampering back amidst the statuary and paintings, and roll on your injury chart.
Okay. That's a 4.
So what does that hit on you?
That is broken. That's the second tick on my middle section there.
Inside.
Yeah, very much. +2 to search and -2 to brawl.
Oh, that ain't good for you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that Cosgrave can go next. These hunters, 3 of them have Flint pinned. The other 2 are turning towards you and Chuck, and you see something dark just out of the corner of your eyes haunting the upper levels of this room, but you can't make out exactly what it is.
I'm sure it's fine.
It is.
Cosgrave's going to keep the focus on the vampire hunters right now. And he's going to use his Phantasmagoria, which creates nightmare illusions in the area immediately around you. Spend 1 blood to do that.
All right.
His stat's going to be his con on this. That's 3. And he'll use his enormous knife in this situation because I got it replenished.
So what do the phantasms look like that are haunting these vampire Yager?
Well, it's not necessarily phantasms. He creates the illusion of a giant pile of opium because, as we all know, vampire hunters are junkies. Every one of them.
For sure.
Yeah. You got to do something to cope. You see some shit. So while they're distracted, he's going to use his enormous knife, and I get an extra die for never saw you coming because they're like enamored with opium,
Makes sense.
much like the pharmaceutical industry.
One of them says, Hans, should we partake? Of course, Jorgen.
So that gives me a total of 7 die. And are they attacking me?
Given the nature of what you're doing, no.
Okay. Well, it's a 6 and a 4, so a total of 3 successes.
How you want to spend them?
So I'll use the crit to take 1 off the overall objective,
Okay.
and the other one I'm going to knock off 1 of their threat
Okay.
because they're high now.
Yeah, they're high and completely unprepared for Chuck rolling in.
I do want to point out that we have not been invited in anywhere in this game.
Interesting.
Quite the opposite, really.
The whole campaign ends when one of the Germans says, "You should just leave." Our Achilles heel.
All right, so Chuck is going to take a look at the 2 that Cosgrave just opiumed.
Sure.
He sees what's happening. He goes, well, hey there, my German partners. How about a couple of lovely ladies to go along with that opium? And he draws Betsy and Maria, his paired revolvers.
Oh, nice segue.
So that's a shoot of 3. Would this be considered a duel?
Yes, they are hastily trying to pull their guns out. We'll consider it a duel.
So that's going to be a dice pool of 4.
Okay, now you're going to be. There's a threat facing you. It is not the vampire hunters, and it's a threat of 5.
Oh.
Or attack of 5, rather.
Okay, well, I rolled a 4, a 5, and a 6.
So 4 successes.
4 successes.
So there's 2 attacks coming against you.
Well, I'm going to wipe both of those out.
Okay.
And then I still have 2 left.
Yep.
I will spend the other 2 toward the objective.
So that's going to take 1 more off the objective. You're firing into these vampire hunters. Bullets are bouncing off their armor. Some of them are taking flesh wounds. They're stumbling through the illusionary opium, trying to get their bearings. And then something that feels like a truck slams into Chuck, flings him across the room. He bounces across the side of a stanchion through a painting. And where Chuck was standing rises up the form of the Werhund, the Nazi werewolf.
Oh, no!
Giant furry monstrosity, huge claws. He's wearing essentially like this armored pants, these boots that have been ripped to shreds, and he howls. Armored
pants.
Decked with grenades and knives. And he is there. He is threat 10, attack 5, challenge 1.
Yeesh.
You cannot make it to the suite while he still lives.
Oh, boy.
All right.
So Austin led that last round, so we'll go with Corey. It's your turn, top of the round.
Okay.
Flint is imperiled. Chuck's on his back. That's just narrative. It doesn't do anything to you mechanically, Todd. And Cosgrave is just dancing around there with his big knife.
Cosgrave's going to spend a blood to use memory rot. I can remove or implant memories from someone I lock eyes with.
Okay.
And I get a bonus die for you were never here, which I guess I can interpret in a certain way, and you tell me if that works or not.
Sure.
So I'm going to lock eyes with the werewolf.
The Verhund.
Verhund. And to activate the you were never here, I'm going to implant a memory that it's actually a gibbous moon right now. And that he's just a dude.
Well, we'll see if it works.
Okay. I'm going to use my con again on that. And I'll hit him with my enormous knife again.
So he's attack 5.
Okay.
He's focused on you. You met his gaze. He doesn't like that.
So that's a total of 7 die again for me.
All right.
I got a total of 4 successes.
I got 3 successes.
Okay. I'm also going to use Back Pocket Hex. That reduces your attack rating by 1.
He has regeneration. His challenge cannot be lowered by any means.
Rude.
Verhund!
Okay, I'm going to block 3 of those attacks and reduce his challenge by 1.
He's got a soak.
He's got a soak.
Oh, shit. Okay, I'll just replenish that blood I just spent then.
So you look at him. You tried to implant, using arcane means, this memory of it being only a gibbous moon. And he shakes his head, does this dog-like sound, looks at you. No! 9! The moon is always full for my Fiona! And charges at you, slams into you, throws you on the ground. You get a quick bite in, get a little snack, and he says, "No, mind blood!" and throws you off. Austin Flint's next.
Flint hurls off the vampire hunters and locks eyes with this other half-human beast. And it feels only right that they should come flying at each other, claws a-flashing. Yeah, this is going to be brawl. Flint is just going to go toe-to-toe with this thing.
It turns to meet your attack.
And so when he goes running at this thing, Flint lets out his hellish screech. I can spend 2 blood to reduce a threat's difficulty by 1. I'm also spending 3 blood to get rid of my broken. So that's a total of 4 blood spent. My basic brawl is 4. Hellish screech gives me a bonus. And steel gouging claws give me a bonus. So I'm rolling 6 die.
So the Verhund attack is 5. He's being assisted by the vampire hunters who are putting down a fusillade of fire as Flint charges toward the Verhund.
Oh, also, can I say that with his attention on Cosgrave, that this does count as an ambush for my steel gouging claws?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So then I'm just rolling 6.
You cannot ambush the Verhund.
I didn't roll great.
What is not great?
I rolled a 5.
Oh. Would you like a flashback?
I believe I would. I think it's time.
So roll a d6 for your flashback context.
Okay. It's a 3.
It's assassinating a Nazi general at the opera. Roll for the question.
Okay. 5.
So the question here is, you want which character are you going to apply this to?
Let's say Chuck.
So you won't let Chuck see you fail like this against the Verhund. What do you respect about Chuck that came up when you guys were assassinating a Nazi general?
I really like his opposable thumbs. Super cool.
I'm a big fan myself.
This memory of Chuck using his thumbs to spin the cylinder on his revolver.
Yeah, I really wish I could use guns like that.
Okay, so add 2 dice to your pool and reroll.
Okay.
Chopsticks. All kind of, yeah.
Right?
Whatever, Velcro.
Knobs.
That's more like it. I got 3 4s, a 5, and a 6. So a total of 6 successes.
Well, it got 3 attacks on you.
Well, first of all, I rolled a 6, so my Ravenous ability gives me 3 blood. I'm going to spend 4 successes to deal damage to his threat, which should actually be a total, since I used Hellish Screech, of 4 points to his threat.
Challenge cannot be lowered by any means. Regeneration. Verhund. Verhund!
Oh, okay. Okay, so then I take 3 points off of his threat, and then I'm going to use my other 2 to take out 2 of those injuries. I'll face one of the other ones.
Okay. Roll for your injury.
6.
So, due to his rending claws, when marking an injury from the Verhund, check off all available boxes in the section rolled.
Damn.
Oh, shit.
So Flint slams into him. They tumble around, shattering masonry and paintings, and Flint gets up. The Verhund looks hurt, but Flint's chest is just open, and blood is pulsing down his body. So mark both the boxes in 5 to 6.
Yeah, that'll be hamstrung and eviscerated.
Hey.
Okay, this says can't gain plus dice. I'm assuming that just means any of the bonuses.
Correct.
By the pluses for equipment.
Yeah. Chuck is picking himself up from where the Verhund knocked him across the room. The vampire Jagers and Verhund are engaged with Flint.
Chuck stands up, dusts himself off, and whistles at the Verhund. And he says, "My bullets are silver. I use them for hunting haints. Tom Mix was a daisy. Hirsute Germans ain't."
It looks at you, confused.
Chuck is going to utilize his lashing tongue.
Oh, okay.
I can spend a blood. My strong, prehensile tongue extends several yards out of my mouth. And if I am using it to restrain a creature, I get a bonus. So I'm going to attempt to immobilize the Verhund with my tongue.
All right.
Which is something I never thought I would actually say.
I'm telling you.
But this
bingo
is what
card.
we're doing.
Oh, that's a licky nicky. Isn't it?
And perhaps we might say that just as Chuck lashes out, Todd, this is up to you because it's your turn.
Sure.
We have one last tick over here in the gorilla category.
I definitely think we should use gorilla.
Well, you say use, it's sacrifice, but go ahead.
Does a little squad make one final dramatic appearance?
Windows shatter all around the mezzanine level as the Soviet guerrillas come tumbling in.
Boy.
For Mother Russia!
All right, so with the lashing tongue and the help, and since I'm using it to restrain, and with the help of the gorillas and apes stronger together, that right there is going to give me a pool of 8 die.
Cool.
However, Kyle, I'm wondering if I can also utilize Betsy and Maria and be firing off some bullets as I'm also firing off my tongue.
You can. I mean, the vampire hunters are going to turn their focus on you, so you absolutely can do that.
So that gives me another 3?
Yeah.
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 That is a dice pool of 11.
Nice.
Holy shit.
All right. Well, I'm fighting you with 6.
Well, it was not the greatest of rolls.
Hey.
5.
Yeah, I would get a flashback and get
Yeah.
2 more dice.
I would
at it.
absolutely do a flashback.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, what's my flashback, Kyle?
So we're gonna say you don't even have to roll. Your flashback is to when you guys were in Fang basic training.
Yes.
At the North Pole. And you were gonna quit.
30 Nights of Winter. We got it.
Because-
Drill Sergeant Santa was too much for him.
Well, the drill sergeant was, of course, this
Mrs. Claus.
some old crusty army ranger played by Jesse Ventura.
I thought you were going to say Arlie Ermy.
And you were gonna quit because you didn't think this was worth it. You thought, I'll be fine. But which character convinced you to stick it out?
I think Cosgrave.
What did he say?
I didn't understand it because it was like British.
Oi, mate. Keep your bongo tuk-tuked.
But for some reason, it just hit the spot. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? If this foreigner who doesn't even speak English,
God knows what country he's from.
right? Then, you know what? Then old Chuck can tough it out like a cowboy, too.
So add 2 more dice
Oh, God.
and re-roll.
All right, so we're rolling a pool of 13.
Nice.
Okay, I did roll one, which gives me a blood.
So I got 5 attacks on you.
All right. I got 12 successes, Kyle.
Wow.
Nice.
2 6s. I see 2 crits there.
Yep.
So 5 attacks on you. I assume. Do you want to take those or rinse away?
I'll take one of the hits because I believe with what I have left over, I can take out that goddamn werewolf.
With 8 successes, you could take out the werewolf, and you could put the other 4 to blocking 4 of their 5 hits.
Yes.
So describe how the werewolf dies.
Chuck's prehensile tongue comes shooting out of his mouth. It sounds like a whip when it wraps around the Verhund's neck. It goes around like 3 times. And while Chuck is like pulling back and choking the Verhund to death as the life is draining out of his body because he can't breathe, he is also simultaneously firing on the vampire hunters with Betsy and Maria. Once the Verhund hits the ground, he flips does the little twirly thing with his 6-shooters and puts them back into his holster, and he says, "Happy New Year to you, Lash LaRue."
And the Verhund is getting up. He's pushing himself up, and then a dozen gorillas land on top of him and beat him to death with shovels.
Nice.
That they just had.
The Russian way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they said those foldable spades
Yeah.
that they have,
Oh,
this-
yeah.
yeah. So I just need to roll one injury.
And little did we know he's a silver-tongued devil.
Corey's got the puns today,
Hey,
folks.
fellers.
All right, I rolled a 4.
Okay, what's that?
I'm limping.
Okay.
Now, was that an injury from the vampire hunters or from the werewolf?
The vampire hunters. He was technically not opposed by the Verhund that turn.
Cool.
So the vampire hunters are still around. They're still fighting. And unfortunately, they focus their fire and cut down the gorillas. The last Soviet gorilla dies. It was worth it, comrades! Ah!
Yeah, all right, bye.
Next round, the overall objective is at 4. You guys have reduced it by 2. It's challenge 1. They're still vampire hunters. The werewolf is starting to decompose. Corey, you can go first.
Okay. Cosgrave is going to use Dance Macabre. Spend 1 blood to gain full control of a corpse for around a minute.
Oh, which corpse?
I'm going for the corpse that has armored pants on, obviously.
I actually didn't know because there are a bunch of dead gorillas.
That's true.
And, okay, so you're going to puppet the werewolf.
Yeah, and I get an extra die. It's one of these vague ones. Hans, are you okay? What I'm going to say is, like, when I gain control of him, I'm speaking to the human inside. I'm also going to say that Hans, the human form of the Verhund,
I see.
his day job is he's a narcotics officer, and he sees all these dudes doing opium, and it sends him into a fury.
His name is George Michael Herzog, but whatever.
Would con work with this as a main stat?
Yeah.
I'm conning his
I think
deadness.
so. Well, you're conning the vampire hunters who
Right.
think the werewolf is still alive and on their side.
They raised him from a pup.
Sure.
Like, so- they're like, need to go potties? Like,
That's how they say it in the original German.
Verhund go Volkies?
okay, so I'm going to use my con, Dance Macabre. That'll give me 2 die. And hell, this enormous knife just sitting here gathering dust. So I'm going to say I'm behind the hulking form of the Verhund.
Sure.
So never saw you coming is activated.
All right.
So again, that's a total of 7 die. Since I'm conning them and using this charade, they're not attacking me.
No, they're still trading fire with Flint and Chuck at this point.
Okay, cool. Got a total of 7 successes with 2 crits.
Nice.
Wow.
So I'm going to spend 5 to wipe out that objective
Okay.
and put the rest in blood for the final confrontation with Hitler.
So how do you use the Verhund controlling it to open the path for you and Chuck and Flint to get into the control room?
Again, they're friends with the werewolf.
Yeah.
So they're overjoyed to see him. They just assume he regenerated like he's
Yeah.
done so many times. It's almost a game to them. Like
Yeah.
when they play fetch, they throw daggers at him and watch the holes grow back up.
Sure.
And he loves it. He just keeps bringing the daggers back to him.
Yeah. Getting him to drop the dagger is a real problem.
Right. So they run in and they're like, they go to scratch his belly, and as they're kneeling down to do that, he just tears them to shreds.
So the Verhund is ripping the vampire hunters apart, the undead, Cosgrave-controlled Verhund, and the 3 of you burst into the broadcast suite. An elaborate set has been constructed to give the impression of power and superiority. Great banners hang from every wall. An iron and basalt lectern stands atop a stairway. And in direct opposition to Zeppelin operational safety guidelines, a roaring fire pit occupies the center of the chamber. Here is Adolf Hitler composing his notes for his big speech. He looks up with anticipation, assuming it's the vampire hunters and the Verhund coming back carrying your heads, and then he sees you 3, and he pees himself. He says, 9! And tries to run away.
Is it my turn?
Sure.
Flint stops him. I guess we can say that right off the bat.
Wow.
Okay, so you have Hitler at your mercy.
I assumed he'd be in a mech suit or something. He's just a dumb Hitler.
Yeah, just a dumb Hitler.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
was snorting some meth as you guys came in.
Jesus. Chocolate meth.
Chocolate meth.
Yeah.
So letting out one last hellish screech that already deafens Hitler and causes blood to run from his ears. Flint takes his steel gouging claws and gouges out Hitler's eyes and then sinks his fangs directly just into his fucking face.
Chuck reaches into his deep pockets, and instead of pulling out 2 revolvers, he instead pulls out 2 beer mugs and does the same like twirly thing with them that he did with the guns. And he says, well, let's belly up to the bar and have us a drink, fellas, and starts collecting the blood in the beer mugs.
Boy, sounds good to me. And Cosgrave pulls out 2 crazy straws and attaches them to his fangs, so he too can feast.
The blood tastes like meth.
Oh.
And Cosgrave uses a piece of equipment he only has a one-time use of, and it's Mother Millicent's stolen soul jar.
Good Lord.
And it doesn't really say what it does. So what I'm going to do is say that I capture Hitler's soul in it, and I drink his soul's blood, too.
Nice.
That way he can't go to heaven.
Oh, he definitely was gonna.
Oh, yeah, good call.
After the genocide.
He can't go to hell either. Now he lives in Cosgrave.
Oh, no.
And it's bad in there.
I was gonna say
The internal dialogue is nonsense.
here's the gibbering of an insane Englishman for eternity.
Yeah.
Chuck is going to, I can use my tool belt one more time.
Sure.
So I want to use my tool belt to jack up the frequency on the radio broadcast. Like, just boost the treble as high as it will go.
Okay.
And he's going to ask Flint if he will screech into the microphone. And I would imagine, like, all of the Nazis within earshot of this broadcast would just start bleeding from the ears.
Yeah, sure. Of course they would.
So we do that.
Well, Austin has to make the sound.
Ah, okay.
So Chuck fiddles with the knobs and everything and gets his tools out, and he takes the microphone and he hands it to Flint and he says, "Do your stuff, sir."
Windows across Paris explode. Wine bottles shatter. Nazis are clutching their ears. Bells start ringing for no reason. Birds flock into the air.
The statues in the Louvre melt.
Planes are crashing. You hear something important explode in the Zeppelin. And as it drifts towards the surface on fire, our 3 vampire commandos escape. And the credits roll.
We live to fight another day.
Yeah.
Well, that was Eat the Reich.
Yeah.
That was a hell of a lot of fun.
It was
Super
a lot of
game.
fun.
I hope they expand on this, honestly. Even if they were just to do like one-off adventures like this,
Yeah.
like repeat, like do like a Cthulhu type thing. It's like, okay, you're in the Roman Empire fighting, or you're like, it's like vampire modern warfare, and it's just us in a boat controlling drones the whole time.
I think Eat the Confederacy would be good.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I was
Great
going
one.
to say.
Yeah.
A little bit of expansion or a little bit of customization might go a long way for this. It's endless fun kind of figuring out what the action is.
Yeah.
But with it being all action, it does get to be kind of one note, I think. But that one note is very fun.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I think that's kind of why it's not a full campaign game.
Yeah,
'cause it's,
sure.
It's you do this thing, it's really intense, you high paced, and then you're done.
Yeah.
I'm also curious. I don't think we ever even brought this up, but basically, when all of your injuries have been filled, you're basically dead. But we all have a last stand,
Yeah.
which is like a ridiculous number of die to roll as our like death sacrifice or whatever.
Yeah.
Mine was undead horde.
Nice.
What was y'all's?
Chuck's obviously was go down shooting.
Okay.
Makes sense.
I was particularly excited to make use of mine if I got the opportunity because Flint's is final form.
Oh God!
His final form is actually just a person.
I was evolving backwards.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening to Bastard Quest. We definitely appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed Eat the Reich. Next up is Viking Death Squad,
Yeah.
which is as metal as Eat the Reich. I don't know. We're on a trend here.
Yeah.
Nice.
But we've got a kind of a special
Yeah.
campaign coming up for that.
I've been working with the publisher of Viking Death Squad, the Runehammer on YouTube, and He came up with a custom scenario for Bastard Quest.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to be fun. Viking Death Squad is super cool, and
He drew up some art for us too. The
yeah.
art in the book is really cool.
he wrote a full-fledged scenario. I'm
Yeah.
going to print it out.
Oh, this is super awesome. God damn it. I can't wait to see this.
It looks like a very cool game. It's fairly new, isn't it?
I believe it came out in 21.
Okay.
So, yeah, pretty new.
And I would like to take this time to thank our sponsor, Barrel and Bond, 100 Broadway Street in beautiful downtown Paducah, right there on the banks of the Ohio River.
Last time I was peeing in there, something important blew up. I think it was the urinal cake.
No, Corey had a stroke. It's time for a new year. That means new playing, new games. If you're looking for ways to refresh your role playing, go to NorseFoundry.com and check out their super kick-ass metal die.
Yeah.
Not just metal, all manner of materials. And not only are they constructed well, but they're pretty.
And you can get them at a little bit of a discount. When you go to checkout, put in promo code CHAM, that's CHAM, for 10% off.
That's the bastard guarantee.
I don't know if I would stand by that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to all our Patreon supporters. We do appreciate it. Of course, Patreon supporter Squatch was the Soviet gorilla in this episode.
Yep.
You know, when we started this, I did not see gorillas showing up, but I'm awfully glad they did.
Yeah.
I didn't either. I'm sure the creators of Ether Reich also did not. Because, spoilers, that's not in the actual game.
I would assume.
No, I think it fits. Soviet
Sure.
gorillas. It's fine. Well, thank you for listening. I'm Kyle.
I'm Todd.
Corey.
I'm Austin.